Okay, we're at week 4, activity number 4, finishing up metric units for liquid volume, and we're starting on page 598. So, real quick review before we start there. Remember, we're talking about liters, like this 1 liter flavored water bottle, and milliliters, which is this very small baby medicine dropper, and it takes 1,000 milliliters to equal 1 liter. Okay, so on question 14 it says, for which container would you use milliliters to measure the amount of liquid? So we know we're going to use a small, we're going to use for milliliters, we are talking about a small container. So we could use liters for this. We could use liters for that bottle, just like my flavored water. This is a very large can of peaches. You might have liters, but this small little tablespoon measuring spoon would definitely be the smallest, so it would have to be milliliters. Which container has the greatest liquid volume when filled? So we're looking just for which one's the biggest. We have a pitcher, a mug, a bucket, and a bottle cap. So the container that would have the greatest liquid volume would be the bucket. Question 16. If the liquid in 2 of the bottles are poured into another container, which 2 will have the least combined liquid volume? So we just need to find the 2 that have the least amount of liquid in them, and that would be this C and bottle D. So the correct answer would be choice A. Question 17. The bottles of tea are all liter bottles. Which bottle has a liter of tea? So which one is full? Well, that would be M, bottle M. Okay, now your independent work for today. Let's just go over the directions and read it together. So the directions here say to choose the unit you would use to measure the capacity. Write milliliter or liter. So if it's a small amount, you know you're going to use milliliters. If it's a large container, you would use liters. Okay, down at number 7, use the containers for 7 through 9. Container A is full when 1 liter of water is poured into it. So container A is representing 1 liter. Question 7 says, what if you poured 1 liter of water into container C? Describe the way the water fills the container. So take a look at container C. If we poured 1 liter of water in there, what would happen? Question 8, which container would hold about half of the water as container D? So you're going to look at container D and try to figure out which one is about half of the amount of this one. And question 9, for which containers would you use milliliters to measure the liquid volume? So remember that we would use milliliters for a container that is less than 1 liter. This one is 1 liter, so one that is smaller or holds less. And it does say containers, so there should be more than 1 container that looks like it would be less than 1 liter. Question 10, which container has the least liquid volume when filled? Water glass, tablespoon, soup bowl, or fish bowl? Question 11, which container would you use a liter to measure the amount of liquid? So we're looking for the one here that would hold right at 1 liter. Remember how much 1 liter is. Okay, let's focus there. Number 12, the bottles of liquid are all liter bottles. which amount of liquid would fill a juice glass? And we talked about juice glass earlier in the lesson, and we know a juice glass is only about 250 milliliters, and a whole liter, 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters, and so a half of a liter bottle, and that might be important to think about which one's filled about halfway. Halfway would be about 500 milliliters, but this juice glass is even less than half. Okay. Question 13. If the liquid in 2 of the containers is poured into another container, which 2 will have the greatest combined liquid volume? So just which are the 2 that have the most liquid in them? And question 14. Each of the containers has a capacity of 1 liter. If the liquid in 2 of the containers is poured into another container, which 2 will have a combined volume of 1 liter? So which 2 of these put together would fill up one of the containers that's holding a liter? Which 2 would you put together to make a full container?